Welcome to this IGCSE Algebra tutorial. In this tutorial, the presenter will look at all the techniques used for simplifying complex algebraic fractions. The problems in this tutorial are based on questions from 20 past exams.
When we simplify complex algebraic fractions, such as the ones in this tutorial, we need to look at how we can factorize the numerator and/or the denominator. So we need to recall the different ways in which you can factorize. Recall that we can have common factors, we can have a difference of squares, we can get trinomials, and we can also have grouping. So these are the four types of factorizations that we will try and apply. So let's look at number one here. Also important, we always first look for common factors. So in this expression or algebraic fraction, we have a common factor in the numerator. The common factor here will be x, y. So we take out the x with the lowest power. This is x to the power 1, as well as the y with the lowest power. This is y to the power 1. So we can take out xy as a common factor. Then what do we have left here? We're going to have left x squared. Then we have a plus. And here we're going to have left 2 times y squared. So it's important to revise factorization before you attempt this tutorial. This is all over x squared, y squared. Now we see how we can simplify. So x into x squared, x times, y into y squared, y times. And we are left with x squared plus 2y squared in the numerator, all over xy in the denominator. So when simplifying complex algebraic fractions, we always first look for common factors in the numerator and the denominator. In this case, we do have a common factor in the numerator of 2x. So 2x into 2x squared, we are left with x. Then we have a negative, and 2x into 6x will be thrice. Always check mentally that you have the right answer here. And you can do so by multiplying into the brackets. So 2x times x will give me 2x squared. 2x times negative 3 will give me negative 6x. And this is all over x minus 3. Now we can simplify by cancelling the x minus 3 in the denominator with the x minus 3 in the numerator. And we are left with 2x. So we first check for common factors in the numerator and in the denominator. In this case, we don't have any common factors. The denominator here is a difference of squares, though. Recall that this is what a difference of squares says. A squared minus b squared is a minus b times a plus b. So if we have a perfect square, a squared, minus another perfect square, b squared, we can factorize it like this. So we can find the square root of the first term. So the square root of a squared is a, minus the square root of the second term. In other words, the square root of b squared, which is b. So we have a minus b in the first set of brackets, and then a plus b in the second set of brackets. So let's factorize the denominator here as the difference of squares. The square root of 9, of course, is 3. Then we have a minus. The square root of x squared is x. So we repeat these two terms in the second set of brackets, but just with a plus. Now we can divide 3 plus x in the denominator into 3 plus x in the numerator. So these two can cancel. So 3 plus x into 3 plus x here is 1. So our answer is going to be 1 over 3 minus x. We have to simplify x squared minus 6x all over x squared minus 36. We always first check for a common factor in the numerator as well as in the denominator. We have a common factor of x in the numerator, so we can take it out as such. X into x squared, x times, then a minus, and x into 6x, 6 times. Then in the denominator here, we have a perfect square minus a perfect square, so a difference of squares. So we can factorize it as such, and we'll get x minus 6 times x plus 6. The x minus 6 here in the denominator cancels with the x minus 6 in the numerator, and we're left with x over x plus 6. So we first check for common factors. In the numerator, we have a common factor of x, so we can take it out as such. X into x squared, x times, and x into 5x, 5 times. We also have a common factor of 2 in the denominator. So let's take it out. 2 into 2x squared, x squared times, and 2 into 50, 25 times. Now we have a difference of squares in the denominator, x squared minus 25. So we can factorize it as such. So it's x minus 5 times x plus 5. So here, the x minus 5 in the denominator will cancel with the x minus 5 in the numerator. And we are left with x over 2 into x plus 5. Let's first check for common factors in the numerator and in the denominator. In the numerator, we have a common factor of 10x. So 10x into 10x squared, x times, and 10x into 60x, 6 times. Then in a denominator, we have a trinomial, so we can factorize it as such. So very important for you to revise the tutorial on trinomial factorization. But the factors here will be x and x. X times x is x squared, and then 6 times 5 will give us 30. We need a middle term of negative x, so we'll have negative 6 and positive 5. Let's do a check. X times x is x squared. Negative 6 times positive 5 is negative 30. Then we have negative 6x plus 5x will give us negative 1x. We can cancel the x minus 6 in the denominator with the x minus 6 in the numerator. And we are left with 10x over x plus 5. First checking for common factors. There are no common factors in the numerator or the denominator. In the numerator, however, we have a difference of squares. So it's going to be x minus 5 times x plus 5. Then in the denominator, we have a trinomial. So x times x will give us x squared. And we have 5 times 4, which will give us 20. We need a middle term of negative 1. So the minus must go here, and the plus must go here. So negative 5 times positive 4 will give us negative 20. Then the x minus 5 here will cancel with the x minus 5 in the numerator. And we're left with x plus 5 over x plus 4. There are no common factors in the numerator or in the denominator. The numerator is the difference of squares, so it's x minus 4 times x plus 4. The denominator is a trinomial, so let's factorize it. X times x will give us x squared, and 4 times 1 will give us 4. We need a middle term of negative 3x, so our minus goes here, and our plus goes here. Because now we're going to get negative 4x plus 1x, which will give us negative 3x. The x's minus 4 cancel, and we're left with x plus 4 over x plus 1. Here, there's no common factor in the numerator. We can factorize the numerator. So 2x times x will give us 2x squared. And for 12, we can use the factors 3 and 4. If you struggle with this type of factorization, you should revise the tutorial on factorization. We need to get a middle term of negative 5. So we need a minus here and a plus here. Because positive 3x minus 8x will give us minus 5x. This is all over. Now, in the denominator, we have a common factor of 3x. So we can take it out as such, 3x into 3x squared, x times, and 3x into 12x, 4 times. Now we can cancel the x's minus 4, and we're going to be left with 2x plus 3. So 2x plus 3 in the numerator over 3x in the denominator. We first check for common factors in the numerator and in the denominator. There are no common factors here. So we can proceed to factorize the numerator and the denominator as trinomials. So it's going to be x minus 2 times x minus 1. Always check that your factorization is correct. X times x will give us x squared. Negative 2 times negative 1 will give us positive 2. Then for the middle term, we'll get negative 2x minus 1x, which will give us negative 3x. Factorizing the denominator, x times x will give us x squared, and we can use factors of 10. Well, the factors of 10 we can use will be 5 and 2. We need positive 3x, so our plus will go here and our minus goes here. Let's check again. X times x is x squared. Positive 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Positive 5x minus 2x will give us positive 3x. These factors will cancel, and we're left with x minus 1 over x plus 5. Here, there are no common factors in the numerator, so we can factorize it as a difference of squares. So x minus 3 and x plus 3. Let's look at the denominator. We're going to use grouping in the denominator. How do we know that? The moment we see 4 terms and we need to factorize, we know it's grouping. So we take out a common factor from the first 2 terms here, and our common factor is 2y. So we take out 2y. So if we take out 2y here, we're going to be left with x. Then 2y into 6y. The y's will cancel, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now we have a plus. And we take out a common factor from the second set here, from 5x minus 15. And the common factor here, of course, is 5. So 5 into 5x, x times, and 5 into 15, 3. We need to complete the grouping in the denominator. So in the numerator, we have x minus 3 times x plus 3. Now we take out x minus 3 as a common factor in the denominator. So if we take out x minus 3 here, we're going to be left with 2y. Then our plus, and x minus 3 taken from here, we are left with 5. The x minus 3 here cancels with this x minus 3, and we're going to be left with x plus 3 over 2y plus 5. We know that we must use grouping in the numerator because we have 4 terms. So let's do that. So we take out a common factor from the first 2 terms here, and the common factor is 3y. So 3y into 3xy, x remains. Then we have a plus, and 3y into 36y will be 12. Now we take out a common factor from these 2 terms. So we have the minus. The common factor here is 5. So 5 into 5x, x remains, or x times. Since we have a minus here, this minus is going to become a plus. A minus times a plus will give us a minus again. Then 5 into 60 will be 12 times. In the denominator, we have a common factor of 2. So 2 into 2x squared, x squared times. Then we have a minus, and 2 into 288, 144 times. We can complete the grouping in the numerator by taking out x plus 12 as a common factor. So x plus 12 taken out from this term, we will be left with 3y. Then we have a minus, and x plus 12 into this term, 5 remains. Then in a denominator, we have a difference of squares. So it's going to be x minus 12 times x plus 12. The x plus 12 here will cancel with this x plus 12. And we're going to be left with 3y minus 5 all over 2 into x minus 12. Since we have 4 terms in the numerator, we're going to use grouping. And in the denominator here, we have a difference of squares. So we can take out a common factor from the first 2 terms in the numerator. And of course, it's going to be u. So u into ux, x times. Then we have a minus. And u into 2u twice. Here we're going to take out negative 1 as a common factor. So we have brackets. And this sign here will become a minus because of the negative here. So x minus 2. Of course, a minus times a minus will give us a plus again. We use a difference of squares in the denominator. So u minus 1 times u plus 1. In the numerator, x minus 2 is a common factor, so we can take it out. Here we're going to be left with u. Then a minus, and x minus 1 or rather x minus 2 into x minus 2 once. We can cancel the u minus 1 in the denominator with the u minus 1 in the numerator. And we are left with x minus 2 all over u plus 1. We have a trinomial in the numerator, and since there are 4 terms in the denominator, we know it's grouping. So let's factorize the trinomial in the numerator. So 2x times x will give us 2x squared. And here we need to use the factors of 15, 5 and 3. We need a positive middle term here. So our plus will go here and our minus here. Always check that your factorization is correct. So 2x times x will give me 2x squared. Negative 5 times positive 3 is negative 15. Then we have negative 5x here and positive 6x here, which will give us positive 1x. Let's do the grouping in the denominator. We can take out a as a common factor from the first 2 terms. So a into ax, x times, then we have a plus, and a into 3a, thrice. We can take out a common factor from the next 2 terms here of negative 2b. So 2b into 2bx, x remains. This minus here will become a plus because of the negative here. So a minus times a plus is a minus. Then 2b into 6b, thrice. So let's complete the grouping in the denominator. We can take out a common factor of x plus 3. So x plus 3 into the first term here, 8 times. Then we have a minus. And then x plus 3 into the second term in the denominator, we'll be left with 2b. These factors can cancel and be left with 2x minus 5 all over a minus 2b.